Merry Crisis and Happy Honda Days! Well, welcome to the channel. You can call me Luna. I also go by Luna the Book Nerd. That's my Instagram and hardly used Threads handle as well. And yeah, I finally decided to just make a YouTube video. I've wanted to make a channel for a long time, and here we are. And for this first foray into the YouTube sphere, I suppose, I decided to start with the classic Newbie Booktube tag. I kind of Frankenstein this list together. It's mostly the original list with a couple of like tweaks and I think like one or two extra questions from other videos I watched at other points. But in general, this is your typical Newbie Booktube tag. And for anyone who watches all the way to the end, thank you and welcome. Yeah, I think I'm going to just jump into it and get started. So, the first question is, why did you start this channel? Or in this case, why are you starting this channel? And I'll be real, I've wanted to make a YouTube since I was like 20 years old, a freshman or sophomore in college, and I just never really had the cojones to do it. I'm in my 30s now, and with the world being on fire, I've just finally hit a point of like, why not? Just do it. Who cares? Either it'll go somewhere or it won't, but there's nothing stopping me. So yeah, that's kind of what it is. Just really just why not? That's why I'm here. Here's the second question. What are some unique things you can bring? Specifically, I guess, to BookTube. And I'll be real, I don't know. I've got a background in psychology and counseling. I like to think I'm a pretty unique person. I like to think I'm pretty funny, although a lot of time I'm funny without meaning to, and when I try to be funny on purpose, it doesn't land right. But I feel that, like, just with my unique experiences, my background in, like, studying behavior and understanding the human condition on top of my own probably warped little perception of the world, I'll bring something to the table. You don't have to eat it if you don't like it. All right. What are you most excited for? When it comes to YouTube, I think what I'm excited for is just being a part of a community, specifically the BookTube community, because I really credit BookTube with helping me become a reader again, because I'll get into this in, a little further on, because there's questions more specifically about like when I started reading, stuff like that. But I was always a big reader, and then I'm sure a lot of people who've been to college can understand this. You get out of like undergrad, you graduate, you get your degree, and you're just so tired. You're tired of reading. You're tired of consuming information. And I feel like a lot of us who've been down that road, or honestly just any person who's lived through their 20s and knows how just crazy that time period in your life can be, that like things like reading tend to fall to the wayside because you have other things to do. You have to work. You got to do move. What I'm excited for is being a part of the community that helped bring me out of that. Like, I have a lot of booktubers that I watch that are really big inspirations for me, and that like I enjoy their content, and they're a big reason that I'm where I am today with my reading journey. Because it's always been very important to me, but I did lose sight of that, like, for a long time, like a while back. So, yeah, I'm really excited to just be a part of this thing that has been very important to me for several years. Why do you love reading? This one can be really hard to answer, because I feel like if you had asked me as a kid, and then asked me as a teenager, and then you ask me now, my answers will be all different. As a kid, it was my escapism. It was how I spent my time when I couldn't get away from what was going on in my life because I was a kid. And then as a teenager, it helped me explore the world outside of my very small conservative town in the South that I came from. And like the internet was a big part of that too, but the internet's what helped lead me to a lot of the books that also help open my worldview. And now I love reading a lot, mostly for like the sake of reading. I just like instead of spending all my time doom scrolling or just watching YouTube blindly, I'm exercising my critical thinking skills. I'm exercising my analysis skills. I'm just getting lost in words in a way that I really hadn't since I was a kid. And for me, when I read, it's not just reading words on a page. It's like a movie playing in my head. I envision the characters. They have voices. They all look different. They're acting out the scenes. It's like a really surreal, very long movie in my head. And that's fun for me. I honestly would rather read than watch a movie or TV in a lot of ways. When did you start reading? I don't even remember when I started reading because I learned to read when I was like 3. My Nana read to me like the same like Dr. Seuss and Little Golden books over and over again to the point I memorized them and could read them on my own. But what came out of that is, yeah, I memorized the books, but I started understanding the meaning of the words. So when they would get me a new book from the library or, whatever, little kid books, I would read them on my own. And if I didn't know a word, I just asked the adults around me. So yeah, I started reading during that time period of life where I genuinely don't remember much. I just remember that Green Eggs and Ham was one of my favorite books at the time. Okay, and that last question kind of bleeds into this next one. What book got you into reading? I mean, I kind of just explained it. It was like a bunch of Dr. Seuss and books like that. And I would probably say like Green Eggs and Ham was probably the big one that got me into reading. What kind of books do you like to read? I'm a big horror reader. That's over 90% of what I read at this point. Over time, like as a kid, it was a little different. Of course, it was like kid books. But when I really started getting to pick stuff, I got really into true crime. And then over time, that kind of morphed into like lit fic. Like think Ellen Hopkins, like teenager kind of lit fic. I even read Cassandra Clare and then the big one, the Wizard series of She Who Must Not Be Named, because fuck that turf. And if you like that, please leave, because we don't do that here. And I might make a video about why I feel strongly about that, which everyone should feel that way, but like specifically why I feel the way I do about her. But that's for another video maybe in the future. But yeah, horror, but specifically, I'm really into vampires. I'm really into cannibal like stories, female rage. I also, outside of horror, but I still kind of view it a lot of time as horror adjacent. It's like sad girl lit fic, like, or weird girl fiction. Think like Otessa Moss thing, My Year of Rest and Relaxation, things like that. I like stuff like that on top of horror. And every now and then I like just a classic literary fiction. Sometimes I'll read a romance or a romantasy, or I'll read, every now and then a sci-fi or something. I'm not big on like romance and stuff. I'm not a big dark romance person. To be real, I'm not just personally not a big smut reader, because like when I'm reading, I'm not reading for that reason. I'm usually more interested in blood and guts and explorations of the human condition through a very specific lens. So yeah, that's what I like to read. That's probably what most of my channel will be about, because I'm quite frankly not going to read stuff I don't want to read. I'm a big DNFer. If I'm not liking a book, it will go away, because life is too short to read books you don't enjoy. And then next question, where do you read? I mean, everywhere, which I don't leave my house a lot. Like I used to listen to a lot of audiobooks at work, but I haven't been at work for a while. I'm on a leave right now. So mostly I just read in my living room. Like part of my ritual is like waking up in the morning. I get me a chai or like a mocha from the fridge, and then I sit down and I read. Or I'll sit down and listen to an audiobook, which is still reading. And I just do that for about an hour every morning. I'm not like always reading all day. I have to be in the mood. There are some days I only read maybe 1 or 2 pages or listen to a couple of minutes of an audiobook, but it still counts. I am very proud of my reading streak right now. But yeah, so I mostly just read at home, but it's just anywhere I can like have the time to read an ebook or pull a book out or listen to an audiobook, I'll read. All right, second to last question. What challenges do you think starting a booktube will be the hardest to overcome? I think I'm my own worst enemy on this little adventure because I'll be real, this is probably like the 7th or 8th time I've sat down to record this, and I just kind of I got to get over myself and realize people aren't going to see the same flaws in me that I see in myself. People aren't going to judge me for being a brand new YouTuber and using my phone to record. At this point, I'm just doing this for me to help build my confidence and, like I said, help foster that sense of community I'm looking for. And I mean, like I said, if, Billy Joe Bob's grandpa can go on YouTube to make rants about someone stealing his sheep, I think I can make a booktube. I think I can make videos about the things that I enjoy. And I think the best thing I can do is to just do it. Just do it! Just do it! I know, that was really cringe, and I'm sorry. But the gutters Tumblr raised me, and there are some things you never grow out of, y'all. I'm sorry. Anyway. My last question that I'm going to answer, and maybe I'll waffle a little bit after, maybe not, but what questions would you ask your favorite booktubers? And to start off, my favorite booktubers are many. Like, I know there's a lot of booktubers out there, but I know off the top of my head that the ones I would most specifically want to talk to are Gabby Reads, Gavin Reads It All, Jan Agaton, Wicked Reading, Books and Lala. Specifically Gabby, though. She is who really helped pull me out of my years-long post-college reading slump. Like, from 2017 until 2020, I maybe read 1 or 2 books a year, and that was it. That's all I could manage. Just, and life was really hectic at that time. I'm not going to get into it, but I started really getting into watching BookTube. I'd caught a couple of videos. I even read the ACOTAR series because of BookTube. But even then, I didn't really get back into reading every single day and helping flex those cognitive muscles and just, keeping my reading ability sharp until I found one of Gabby's videos. I don't know what year it was from. I know I watched it somewhere in 2020, I think, where she mentioned this book called Our Wives Under the Sea. And that book was so special. It wasn't a 5-star for me, but I really enjoyed it. And reading a book that I saw a creator that I really liked their energy talk about, it just it meant more to me. And I just, especially that summer, during her Summerween readathon, which actually always falls across my birthday, I joined it. And I watched along and I started reading, and I have read every single day since then. Which I didn't, even back in 2020 when I started reading again, it wasn't every day, but a couple of years ago, I think in 2021 or so, I followed the readathon. And yeah, I've been reading every day since. So I guess if I had to, any of those booktubers I mentioned, they're amazing. And plus others I couldn't name off the top of my head. I guess the question I would want to ask them is, how do you maintain doing this? How do you find the time to live your life and do all the things you need to do, and then read as much as you do on top of then recording content for what you read? Also, I would take any tips for editing or anything you can do to just make your videos better, especially when you're working with essentially no budget at all. I guess I just want to ask, how do y'all do it? Because, other than the confidence issues, that's one thing that's always made me be a little worried with starting a booktube, because I don't know if I could be consistent with it. I don't know if I can maintain it. And I just want to know like how they do such good videos when especially even watching their older stuff, knowing, they didn't have like all the equipment and stuff they have now, like how they were just able to do it. Maybe it was just a different time. Maybe I missed my chance to join in when the getting was good. Who knows? But yeah, that's where I'm at with it, and I'm hoping to make more content for you soon. And for those of you who maybe actually like me or want to like and subscribe, that would be the best Christmas present you could give me.